Hello, my name's Amari, and this is our summary review of Sex Positive, which, as of February 9th, was in limited release, but it's going to be coming to video on demand soon. We'll put the date in time somewhere. Anyway, to summarize the film, Virginia's new to New Orleans. She's broke, and very soon is going to be homeless. And to make matters worse, the dating scene hasn't really counterbalanced her difficult time in this new area. But, luckily for her, though originally it didn't seem that way, there's this young man named Jake who meets Virginia right after she gets ditched by this man that she spent the night with. And he offers her a place to live, a means to get some money, but as with anything that's too good to be true, there's strings attached. Now, as for what those strings are, well, the home that Jake is offering Virginia to live in is ran by a woman named Cindy, and it's a house where there's a lot of sex going on. People are naked throughout the whole property, which is a rather big mansion-looking thing, and pretty much in any given room, there's probably someone having sex, and on top of that, Cindy's a cam girl, and I think there might have been cameras in most of the rooms in the house, but it's hard to say. But being that Virginia has come from a background which was evangelical, this is a lot. Then when you add in that Jake wants Virginia to help him get into various sex clubs so we can do research on different kinds of kinks and fetishes, she feels a little overstimulated because this movie has not just naked women in various states of clothing, but also men. Yet, as time goes on, Virginia gets accustomed to everything because these are all very nice, sex-positive people, and she even warms up to Jake a little bit. And overall, what you get is a sex comedy which also acts as a sexual awakening for Virginia that takes things in a way that probably no other film like this goes, especially right before it hits the point when it officially becomes porn. So, get into the review portion. One of the best things about Sex Positive is that it lives up to its name and is truly trying to be a sex comedy that I won't say goes into depth in any way or shape or form, but at the very least it touches upon different things in a way that most sex comedies don't. For example, with this film, it's equal opportunity when it comes to nudity. You'll see male genitalia, female genitalia, butts, breasts, and not all breasts that are young, perky. Some of them sag a little bit. Same goes with the looks of the different people. We have heavyset people, a few older people, black people. I don't think there was any Asian people, but let's just say, for the most part, there is an effort to have a little bit of everything here. And on top of that, because of Jake's research, you go into BDSM, we see scenes where they explore the pleasure of double penetration and a bunch of things that, the way I'm saying it, may make it sound like this film just wants to be at hard R and just have a lot of people gyrating and a bunch of moans and stuff like that, but I do think sometimes when it comes to this film, as much as you can write off as superficial, bunch of naked bodies and all that, there is a desire to truly live up to its name, and maybe not to the point of having to be, maybe not to the point of being some kind of Shanboojum type of video, but at the same time, it wants to be something more than just a bunch of naked bodies from a bunch of people who you probably don't know the names of. With that said, while the sex element is good in terms of the conversation and what it's trying to get you to understand in some ways, when it comes to chemistry, that's not really there. So any type of relationship you can think of, specifically the type of relationships that are in this film, whether it's open marriages, people who may have crushes on one another, you're not really sold on it. Like, for example, it's clear that Jake and Virginia could potentially have something, but there's not much in the way of compatibility there. If anything, this film really focuses mainly on sexual compatibility and curiosity, and everything else in terms of actual love and relationships is put on the back burner to the point that I would say it's forgotten about. And with that said, in some ways, yes, you recognize that this is a comedy, so it's not going to go deep into how people get into BDSM, or at least the people having open relationships, and the complications that truly derive how people come to understand their sexual interest. Film doesn't go that far, but at times you kind of wish it did. For example, Cindy struggles with dating, and because she struggled with dating, you can see that led to sex becoming some form of validation for her. That would have been something interesting to look into more. Virginia grew up evangelical, and this is very much about her liberation, but as for seeing her truly kind of process breaking a lot of those, I don't want to say chain or issues that she was brought up in, but just seeing her transform or deal with that stuff as she goes through this long A to Z list of stuff that she might potentially do. We don't get that. And then adding Jake's issues with his sexual performance and another gentleman who has issues with his size. There's a whole lot that this film could have touched upon in terms of sex in a way that wasn't just about naked bodies and the experience of desire. But unfortunately, while it touches upon it enough to let you know it exists, it doesn't necessarily go deep enough. This sounds extremely dirty out of context, but the point is, it gives you enough, but it doesn't go as far as you wish it would, especially because, this kind of movie is not going to have too many peers.